Welcome back to Nightly Nonsense, where we try to make a little bit of sense out of the nonsense that is all around us. I don't know if you have been paying attention in the news. I don't know how you can really miss it, but this earthquake that struck Turkey and Syria, and 19,000 people have died from it. It really has struck home for me. Not because we've been talking for years about birth pains and earthquakes and the last days and things like that. From the standpoint of this, that we have shared many, many times, many different ways with you here down at Drash Ministries. It's another example of suddenly, right? I want you to understand that life changes suddenly. When God talks, right, in big views, and he talks about futuristic things and all of that kind of stuff, but eventually all of that futuristic stuff, it comes true. Eventually all that is out there comes forward. I've been to places where you see these big conveyor belts, and it has stuff on it, and it feeds stuff into, a machine, and it does whatever it is that you want to do. So you put stuff at the end of the conveyor belt, and even if it takes an hour to get to where it needs to go, right? Even if it's going really slow and all those things, eventually that which is on the conveyor belt is going to get fed into whatever machine you're using, right? Eventually it's going to happen. You have some time to change it, get it off, get things, done, all these things. But eventually it's going to go if you don't do anything about it, right? God warns us about this over and over in the Bible. And I know that this is in the Old Testament, and a lot of times we think about New Testament, it's like, oh, there's no need for the Old Testament. Nothing there is relevant. It's all new. It's all great. God just now has unlimited compassion, unlimited mercy, unlimited grace. God is unlimited. He has unlimited all of that stuff. But he sometimes doesn't choose, right, to put that into play. Sometimes it just never is on the conveyor belt of life. Sometimes God says, you know what, I've warned that things are going to happen, and suddenly they happen. I need you again to think about this from the standpoint of all of these people. 2 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds, 5 seconds, 1 second. 1 second before this earthquake, all of these people were doing different things, right? They were all living life, going about life normal. We read about this in the book of Genesis, right? We read about this with the flood story with Noah, right? All of these people are going about their business, doing their things. And all of a sudden, they feel something they've never felt before. All of a sudden, a drop of water falls from the sky. They've never seen rain before. Nothing like this has ever happened. And can you imagine all these people, thousands of people, out doing their stuff, out in the fields, in the city, doing whatever it is that they're doing, and all of a sudden, something that's never happened before, they feel the first drop. And then that drop turns into another drop, and another drop, and another drop, and another drop, and pretty soon it's a steady rain, right? And now it's raining harder and harder and harder, and all of a sudden, their lives change in a minute. And they want to react to it, and they want to fix it, and they want to get to the boat that they know that Noah's been making, and they've been making fun of, and all these things, and they get to the boat, and the door's shut. The door is shut. Who shut that door? The Bible tells us God shut the door. There's a great lesson there. We don't like to think about a God who would shut the door on drowning people, but the Bible says he shut the door. There are moments where God is going to change your life suddenly. Things are just going to change in a blink of an eye. Right? We don't like change. If we're going to take it, we'd prefer to see it out here so we could be preparing for it, right? We see the conveyor belt. We see what's on it. It's coming towards us. We know what's going to happen. Eventually, our children are going to grow up. They're going to leave our home. Eventually, we're going to retire. Eventually, we're going to have to do this or this or this. But what happens when that eventually comes? Every single person that was living in this area, in these cities, all of a sudden got hit with suddenly, right? That which was out here. The Bible tells us earthquakes are coming. But that's not me who said it. That's not a conspiracy theory out there. That's what Jesus said. Here are the warning signs at the end. Earthquakes, right, are going to happen. We just had an abnormal thing with an earthquake in Buffalo. Pretty high earthquake in Buffalo for us. There are people who woke up on Monday morning, never thought about having an earthquake. Thought about going to the dentist, having teeth pulled. Thought about going to work, right? Not liking it. Thought about doing this, and this. But earthquake was not on their list of things to experience. And all of a sudden, suddenly they were thrust into experiencing something that, granted, didn't shake their houses down, didn't ruin their lives, didn't change a lot of things for them. But it did change things. So we're thrown into suddenly. So my question for you to think tonight on Nightly Nonsense is, hey, what happens when suddenly things change? What happens when that which God has been saying out here is going to happen? You better pay attention. It's going to happen. What happens when it happens? Think about that. What happens when it happens? Hey, we'll see you next time. Nightly Nonsense.